was December of 2021 when I stood here on this very place with a Honda City by my side. I was a single guy back then and the Honda City was the default choice for someone looking to buy a C-segment sedan. Now fast forward 1.5 years later and I'm happily engaged and the Honda City has newer and tougher competition now more than ever. But the City wasn't sitting idle either. What I have with me here today is a new and updated City 2023. And in this video, we'll be putting it through a rigorous and consistent CarWale fuel efficiency test. Hello and welcome back to CarWale. I'm Bilal. This is the Honda City petrol manual. And here's a little reminder to like, share and subscribe to the CarWale YouTube channel. And do stick till the end as we'll also be testing the ADAS that Honda is offering with the City in a real world condition. Now we are familiar with ADAS offered in an automatic car, but this is a manual and we are keen to know how it performs in a real world condition. We have already done a detailed first drive video around the 2023 City. So if you want to know more about the changes inside and out or features and pricing, you can click on the link somewhere on your screen or in the description below. Now that our tank is filled up to the brim, let's start a predefined city loop. So we know that the 1.5 litre iVTEC petrol engine in this Honda City, it produces 119 bhp and 145 Newton meter. You can have it with a CVT automatic or what we are driving here, the 6-speed manual. With this 2023 update, there's no diesel engine option with the City, but you do get a full strong hybrid with a better fuel efficiency. So if you want a similar video for the hybrid version, do write in the comment section below and we'll be happy to oblige. Regular viewers of CarWale must be familiar with our fuel efficiency test, but for our newer viewers, here's a quick recap. For every car we test at CarWale, we follow a tank-to-tank method wherein we'll tank up the car to the brim, drive around for a predefined route that is familiar to us and includes all kinds of scenario an everyday driver might encounter. Then we'll come back to the fuel pump and tank it up once again. So kilometers driven divided by the fuel consumed is equal to the real-world fuel efficiency. Honda claims a combined fuel efficiency of 17.8 kmpl for this petrol manual version of the Honda City. Let's see how well this one does in a real world condition. We have also weighed this City as part of this test and it tips the scale at 1130 kgs, which is incidentally lighter than last time we tested it. With this update, Honda Sensing, which is Honda's autonomous hardware, is being offered across the range except the entry-level variant. So let's try this Honda Sensing out in a real-world condition, shall we? The Honda Sensing has 4 or 5 important driver assist features, which we'll try one by one. And you can control all those features through these buttons on the steering wheel, and all the displays shows up on the MID. There's no dedicated separate button to control the ADAS in the Honda City. The first up is collision mitigation system, in which the Honda Sensing would sense the car ahead of me, and if the car ahead of me gets too close to comfort, it would warn or should apply the brake for me. There are 4 levels where I can set the distance with the car ahead of me. And there is a car ahead of me, so let's try that out. Now we are doing close to 40 km/h and I'm getting much closer to the car ahead of me, and let's see. You heard that voice? That's the indication on my instrument cluster. It's showing a car with an exclamation mark and it's saying that the car ahead of me is too close to comfort. It's not braking on its own though, but the instrument cluster, it has a constant warning on the dial that the car ahead of me is too close. Next up is lane departure and assist. So in which you need a proper lane marking and you have to do a speed about 60 km per hour. So right now I'm doing close to 65 km per hour. Let's try it out. We have proper lane markings on the road, and if I try to leave my lane, let's try what happens. Yep, so there's a warning on the instrument cluster. It says lane departure, and the steering, it tries to nudge me back into the lane. This is a pretty handy feature. Part of the lane assist and lane departure warning is a feature that holds on to a lane, provided that it has a proper marking on either side. It will hold the lane if you are doing highway speeds, and you don't need to have steering input for that. It will prompt you on the instrument cluster that steering input is required, but to an extent it will manage to take the turn or a curvature of the road with quite an ease. Let's try it out, shall we? Now the road I'm in has a proper curve and proper marking on either side, and if I manage to let go of the steering, it is taking that corner pretty nicely. Again, it's prompting me on the MID that steering required, and if I hold on to it, that display disappears. But it did manage to take that corner without any input from my side. Let's try it out once again. The road is taking a slight curve, and I have let go of the steering, and the car has managed to follow that curve pretty nicely. Perks of the modern age ADAS features. Lastly, we come to adaptive cruise control. Now in this feature, the ADAS would sense the car ahead of me, and it will use the cruise control, the radars, and all the other hardware to set a speed on its own. For instance, I've set my adaptive cruise control to 70 km per hour, but the car ahead of me is doing around 50. So this car would hold that speed until the car ahead of me pulls away. I have let go of my throttle and brake, but the car senses the car ahead of me is doing more than 70 km per hour, so it will maintain that gap between the two and do 70 km per hour. And then if it senses the car ahead of me is braking, the ADAS would help the car brake on its own. I haven't touched my brake or accelerator, but the car has come to a halt at under 30 km per hour, and then the adaptive cruise control disengages. But here's the interesting part. This is a manual. So if I hold the gear in, say, second or third and set my adaptive cruise control to 70 km per hour, the car would accelerate and brake while being in a third gear. So say if I'm doing 40 km per hour in my third gear at 2000 RPM, and then the adaptive cruise control is set at 70, and the car ahead of me pulls away at 70, this car would also try to maintain that speed. But to maintain that speed, the gear would still be in third gear, and then the RPM would rise, and it would definitely affect your fuel economy. So you have to change gear accordingly, but the cruise control would be maintaining that pace according to the car ahead of it. And we have done close to 78 kilometers in the city. So let's head back to the fuel pump, tank it up again, and head out for the highway run. I know you are excited to know the figures, but stay tuned a little longer as we'll reveal both the figures together. Finally, we have tanked up the city after a highway run. Now it's time to reveal the final figures. Drum roll, please. So after 78 kilometers in the city, this city took in 7.06 liters. That translates to around 11.03 kmpl. and the MID, it showed me an average of 11.7 kmpl. That's pretty accurate. And then on the highway, we drove around for 91 kilometers and the city sipped in just 4.92 liters. That gives us a tested mileage of 18.39 kmpl and the MID was showing 19.39 kmpl. So in our previous video, the MID was highly optimistic, but now the figures are pretty accurate to the real tested figures. So now you can fairly rely on it in a real world condition. With an overall average fuel consumption of 13.3 kmpl in a real world condition and a tank capacity of 40 liters, this city petrol manual can realistically achieve a range of 535 kilometers. Not bad for a full-size sedan that can seat 5 in comfort, has a decently good and potent engine which is easy to drive in the city and is a mile muncher on the highway. There you have it, the real-world fuel mileage of the Honda City petrol manual. Now we already knew it is fuel efficient, but what about performance? Well, this 1.5 litre naturally aspirated petrol engine is sufficiently powerful, but the competition now offers so much more with their turbo petrol engines. So in that regard, we feel the Honda City might not be the default choice as it once used to be. But for all other intents and purposes, the City remains a solid buy. It's fuel efficient and comfortable as ever. But now with ADAS and more features, Honda has definitely brought it up to speed. That's all from this video, but before we go, let us know in the comment section below if you want a similar video for the City's competition, which now includes the new generation Hyundai Verna, the Skoda Slavia and the Volkswagen Virtus. And if you want a similar video for any other car, let us know in the comment section below and we'll happily oblige. This is Bilal signing off. Until next time.